Daddy, we live in the dream, captain in the field. I love my drink like Champions League. Every 25 hits, even the only field. Man, I better the road like a Ferrari. We got one, just enough of the tweet. Create my own leagues, and how we compete.
Running, although here's Canapri, he's on a hat-trick and he's in!
This is Corner Flag Talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Pundit FPL. Glad to be back on our favorite Tuesday. You know, we like to spit out the content on Tuesdays, you know, so we're glad to be back on Tuesday. Here joining us with John. Gonna let John introduce himself and then we're gonna try and kick it off.
Hey guys, it's your boy John. You know, we glad to be here and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we just get into it.
Alright, so I don't know how the weekend went for you all, but for me it went kind of average, I would say. Some of the ways that I thought DMs was going to go, they actually didn't really play off that way, but we're gonna get into it. By now I hope y'all can see my team up on the screen here, and yeah, we just gonna do the regular stuff, you know, review my team and then move on to another section. So in goal, Emi Martinez, you know, Mr. Reliable again. Unlucky that he got his clean sheet taken away, but he still managed 6 saves on the day. I don't know how that wasn't enough for a little bit of bonus as well. We know Emi is very accustomed to getting bonus points this season, but just 6 saves and 1 goal conceded. So the man ended up with 4 points, and I think that's kind of fine. And then quickly moving on to the rest of the defense now. Now, I know you're seeing that I have 4 defenders in the back there. That was not part of the plan. Kufal was actually on the bench, but
he was out though.
it worked out, yeah. And because Gundogan didn't get any minutes, Kufal got subbed on. Man got 4 points. That's because he managed to get an assist. He assisted the first goal, which is fantastic. And Lingard again, I must say the man is turning out to be quite in form for West Ham. So Kufal with 4 points. He managed an assist, but nothing else. Got his assist. Got his clean sheet taken away, as did the rest of my backline. Dallas, no clean sheet, just 2 points. Very standard for Dallas. Marcus Alonso conceded 5 goals. 5. Yeah. I transferred this guy in. I didn't expect that at all. Now listen, I think the logic on Alonso was there. I knew he was going to start. It just made too much sense for him to not start in this type of fixture. And we know that Alonso in FPL is just brilliant, right? Like, the man is extremely attacking, and that is exactly what we saw against West Brom. Again, it just didn't really play off for him. He hit the post from a free kick, and that's actually how he got his assist. But on a different day, that should have been a goal. That's 3 extra points, right? He set up Werner in the box, who then decided to not score and pass it to Mount instead. I don't understand why that happened, but Werner robbed the man an assist. And then he had some other good chances as well, but I guess on the day it just didn't work out for Chelsea on a whole. And, you know, kind of going down to 10 men too, they restricted Alonso's attacking a little bit more. And then finally, Davinson Sanchez, but the man actually looked like a clown. It was not a good performance for Sanchez at all, but I don't really know what else I can say about that. I actually decided to transfer him out because of that performance. I just can't see him surviving under Mourinho for too much longer. You know, it really didn't look too good against Newcastle. But that's all I have to say about our defense. John, if you have anything to say, you can go on ahead. If not, go to Dimitri.
I, like you, thought that Aston Villa actually had a pretty decent chance at the clean sheet. I was expecting not just the clean, but for a certain striker to be more amongst the goals than he was that day. Although we take what we get, right? When you look at the defense, yeah, Newcastle haven't been that scoring, and the fact that they actually scored 2 against a team like Spurs, the logic definitely was there. Davinson Sanchez was not. Dallas, again, you know, these are 3 players that we just called off the bat that had favorable fixtures, right? We're talking about they're playing against Fulham, playing against Newcastle, you're playing against West Brom. Sorry, not West Brom. Who the Dallas play? Sheffield, right? You look at that 3 players so far, and then West Brom against with Alonso, right? You look at a lot of favorable fixtures in the back there, and not one of these yielded a clean sheet, which just kind of shows how FPL can go sometimes. That you can have all the logic, and just on the daily performance isn't up to par. Kufal, yeah, I would understand benching Kufal as well. From the defensive point of view, it made sense, and it yielded true that he conceded 2 goals. However, he got the assist, so he became the best asset there. well, a lot. So, well, for you, when I passed it on the ball was not good, but for me it was good because my one chance for this week was Mason Mount. So it worked out for me that way.
Fair enough.
Other than that, just to wrap it up, I get the logic that you had in each player being there, and it's just really unfortunate just how it panned out in the end.
Yeah, it is unlucky. But moving into the midfield now, we have Rafinha, another assist. I don't know if you all saw the assist, but that was a true assist, not an FPL assist. The man did all the work for himself and then set up Jack Harrison on an empty net, basically. So, yeah, Rafinha turned out to be pretty brilliant. I think we already know about this guy, and if he's not in the team, I'm sure we already have plans to get him in. I know that Leeds have some tougher fixtures coming up, but like at 5.5 or 5.4, wherever he is right now, the man playing out of his skin, and at that price, I honestly think it doesn't really matter the fixture. You could easily just play him on the bench for the tougher games and then actually start him for the easier ones, you know. So Rafinha definitely somebody to continue to look at, and I think he's gonna finish the season pretty strong. Moving on to Salah now. Salah finally repaid his owners with a goal, and not only with a goal, the man actually played pretty good as well. Liverpool on a whole played pretty well. And I don't want to jump too much into Liverpool now because we will talk about them a little bit later. But thank you, Salah. Thank you. We've been waiting on this one. And then finally, Gareth Bale, yeah, managed to get himself 2 minutes, touched the ball once. It was actually from a free kick. I don't know what to say about Bale. If you have him in your team, please transfer him out. I am getting rid of him. I think the rest of you all should as well.
I believe somebody told you should go Lucas Moore instead.
Yeah,
I wonder who that was.
But well. Yeah, it was have fun. Anyway, it didn't work out, and if you have him, you should probably get rid of that. Finally, the last thing I'll talk about in the midfield is I had Jack Grealish. He was supposed to start. It was looking like he was all fit and ready for this weekend, you know, and they had a favorable game as well. It just turned out that he managed to get a new injury a few days before the game. So yeah, I don't know how good now Grealish right now. That's another case of, look, if you have Grealish, you just have to accept the L and get rid of him now. Aston Villa have some tough games coming up, and we will get into that later. But basically, Grealish, another injury. It's been 9 games in a row now that he hasn't returned. And yeah, I would get Jack Grealish out of my team. John, what do you want to say about him midfield, boy?
Not much really. The Spurs one is a tough one, you know, because Mourinho really having his way with these picks these days, boy. Like a lot of people expected Son, including me, to start the game regardless because he was rested a lot across the international break, and of course they need points. I thought he'd definitely start his A team, and he just didn't go with that. Salah, we said it last week on the show that it is a fixture historically he's done well in, and it is the kind of fixture that he probably needed to get a little boost and probably have us thinking a bit more about him going ahead in what we'll be looking to bust our wild cards. With Rafinha, yeah, he's been a fantastic player. I think that, you know, if Balfour was a scorer as much as he did, that, you know, we'd be looking at Rafinha for probably being Leeds' best player this season by the time the season is finished. You know, so he's just proven the returns to back up that kind of statement, you know. Like, if we actually look at his numbers, not just the assists, but chances created, he does a ton for them in the build-up to goals and stuff. And it's good to see that he is getting returns out there. So,
yeah. Finally, into the all-English strike force. You know, we'll start with the worst and then make our way up to the best. So, yeah, now we have Calvert-Lewin, who managed to squander a hat-trick of chances on the day. DCL, I don't know this guy to be a bad finisher, in my opinion. He's a proper finisher. But, yeah, worst game this season. I don't really know what to say about that. On the front day, it would have been a brace for the least, right, and a hat trick for the most. I just can't believe that the man stepped away with 2 points. That is actually quite shocking. But I don't really have anything else to say about that. And DCL is another case of, I think it's time to let him go. Not so much because I don't trust him, but basically because there are some harder games now, you know. So it's time to move on. Moving on to another guy who is time to move on from finally is Ollie Watkins. I've had him for a very long time and we big him up on this channel all the time. But the reality is that without Grealish, it's very hard for them to score. It's actually hard for them to keep clean sheets as well. And they're going into some harder games now as well. So yeah, I think it's time to release Ollie Watkins. I'm glad that he managed to score in his last game for the club. But that's just how it goes sometimes. And now finally onto a man that we definitely will not be releasing anytime soon. I can see
Ever.
this guy lasting the rest of this season, playing 38 games for my club next season, and seasons to come as well. It's Harry Kane, Captain Fantastic. So happy that I managed to captain Kane. You know, I almost didn't because I thought that okay, everybody gonna captain Kane. Let me try and get a differential this week. But now boy, you can't do a differential on Kane. That guy is actually just way too good. And if you still have your triple captain out there, I'm sure you're looking at lips by now, looking at game week 32. You already know what gonna come. Kane have 2 games on that week. And you sitting down there with your triple captain thinking, alright, we gonna get 100 points, fully list this. But yeah, nah, Kane, captain fantastic, man. I don't really know what else to say. He took his second goal brilliantly. First goal, I think some people said it was luck. I thought he had some good feet to keep the ball under control and walk it past the goalkeeper. But hey, luck, skill, whatever the hell you want to call it, it doesn't matter. You got based on the day, and we're very happy about that, and we're even happier when we captain him. So yep, the all English strike force, John. We had to say about my Englishman.
These sellers was all lucky there for sure, man. I do think that it was his worst game for the club, and not just this season, but in a while. It's like probably since before Ancelotti has taken over. If it's something that he has not been a bad finisher this season, if anything, that's probably been his best asset in terms of how critical he's had to be with limited chances. Watkins, yeah, I agree, dog, that it just is not enough coming from him, and the reason that he's still in both of our sides is because he's been very difficult to move off of because. Like, if Grealish was fit this entire time, you would have had him for sure because the fixtures was good for them. They had favorable fixtures. We expected them to score, and this just being the latest one of them. And, to be fair, that he did, end up scoring on the day, right? It was late, but he did score. And then it's Harry Kane, the man I should have captained as well, but I went for differential as well. And I went with Patrick Bamford. And that was just really depressing in the end.
That's unlucky.
And when you look at the fact that Sheffield conceded 5 to Leicester before the international break, I thought, for sure, dog, man, for sure, at least we get a goal and assist coming out of this game. And even if Kane had higher scored than him, I would have been okay with it. But the fact that he blanked, it's depressing. But Kane, fantastic, dog. I mean, I do think that if it wasn't for Kane this season, Spurs would have been mid-table. It has no two ways about it. It'll be interesting to see what they do next year if he happens to move on to greener pastures.
All right, but hey, funny you mentioned about Bamford because that actually allows us to segue into the next section, which is I wanted to bring up some of the newest injury concerns for you all. This is something that we don't usually do, but given the fact that I'm sure most of us can be using our wildcard very soon, if not already activated, it will be good to know the most recent injury concerns. The app is not that great at staying up to date, but some of the stuff that I noticed in watching the games this weekend. Let's start with Patrick Bamford. He came off, I think, 58 minutes or something with a concern, right? Well, did you manage to watch the game?
No, but I know that he got an injury and came off early.
Right, yeah. So I think that was unlucky. The nice thing about Bamford, though, and I'm sure John would agree with me here, is that he's so important to the team that even if he's just, let's say, 75% fit, I'm pretty sure he starts again. So unless it's a serious injury, it's not something that I'll be too worried about. Obviously, stay tuned for Bielsa's press conference and see what he says about Bamford. But I think if you wanted to transfer him in, you could go ahead and just bring him in. Anyway, he should most likely be good for next week. I don't think it was a serious injury because I looked at the game, and it didn't look that bad to me. Another one that we want to talk about is Jack Grealish. He got better, then he got sick, and now he had a shin injury again. So honestly, this is something that we don't have too much info on, and I would say just hold off on Grealish. Don't bring that guy in anytime soon. If you have him, I would say take him out as well. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, dog. And I do think that Aston Villa just kind of in this midpoint of the season where they probably should have been pushing for the Europa League given how the season was going at a point, and maybe they look to rush him back to try and still make that Europa League. Or they just say, we avoided relegation, we finished mid-table this season, and we don't rush him back to ensure that, he's more than fit and ready to go when it comes next season. So, you have no idea where the club is going to take this because the truth is he's been such an integral player since they went down to now that they don't really know how to play without him, as we have seen over this extended period of time. And I don't think that they would want to risk further injuring him this season, in this last part of the season. Yeah.
Right.
As well
Another.
as well as when you consider the fact that I don't think he would want to be rushed back either because there's a very good chance that he would want to go to the Euros. So, all that has to be considered.
Right. All right, makes sense. Another injury that maybe a little closer to home for John, and he could probably shed some light on this, is Q and Turney. I personally am devastated because I wanted to bring him into my team, and then I saw he walked off at around the 60th minute during that game, and I think they said it was his knee. So, John, well, how did
Yeah,
that
so it
look?
looked like he twisted his knee, and the initial signs don't really look too promising to say the best of it.
Mm,
He looked like he knew that he had to come off the second, and he went down. He indicated he wanted to come off. He came off just before halftime, and
mm,
the scans so far look like that he'll be at least be out for at least 2 weeks,
okay,
which isn't too bad. But
not
at
too
the
bad.
same time, that is just preliminary stuff. Like the truth is that the Arsenal have not released anything official on his
Right.
availability, and at the same time too, for us FPL fans, is that I do think that if they could avoid playing them in the Premier League, they would because Arsenal focus 100% is the Europa League at this point in time, and they
Okay.
definitely need him there more than in the league. So it isn't too good in terms of on the whole how soon he might be back. And even when he is back, I'm not too sure what his availability will like in the Premier League. We've seen Callum Chambers play right back. We've seen Cedric play left back a few times.
Mm.
And that's a combo that I could actually see happening a bit more as we look to the end of the season.
All right. Another injury that a lot of injuries this weekend. And next one that we have to look at now is Michael Antonio. That is
The
just so
legend.
unfortunate because I'm sure so much of us wanted to bring Antonio in. You see, the thing is that when Antonio get injured, that doesn't just upset us because we wanted to bring him in, but it actually affects the whole team. So
Yeah, they don't
we
play the
know
same
that
without him.
exactly the attack is just different. It's not as good, for lack of a better term. All right, so maybe if we wanted to bring Jesse Lingard, now we're thinking twice because Antonio is unfit. At
And
the
if I'm not
moment,
mistaken, Jesse Lingard also had a minor injury concern as well
oh,
coming out of the game.
I think it was cramp. I think it
Oh,
was
okay.
cramp. So
Okay.
I think that one is okay, but the Antonio one, really not too sure about what's going on. I don't even know what he hurt. It was just it was a random one. I'll be honest, I was looking at the game, but at the time when he got injured, I'd step away for a few minutes. I came back, saw that he was off the pitch, looked at my phone, saw okay, Michael Antonio injuries. I have no idea what the hell went on. I don't know if you managed to see
And
that one,
either.
but I know he was busy that day too. So I know that's how it's go. But yeah, at the moment, I would just be aware of Antonio and be aware of the West Ham attackers right now. But that does bring us to the end of this small little injury talk. And it takes me into the final thing, which I had some anticipated questions that I thought the viewers might want answered, some FAQ. So as we were just talking about West Ham, the first thing is we saw West Ham able to score 3 goals very quickly in the first half past a decent team. Okay, so that brings me to the question now. Is West Ham attack becoming fixture proof?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they play so fearless that it just doesn't matter who they play against. Yeah.
Mm,
Like I think like the last time that they actually were struggling to score was when they played against Man United. I think on that day there was like so many injuries slash personal missing and Moyes just kind of like tried to forego the attack on the whole. But like
right,
Lingard was missing,
right,
Not Suchek, not Antonio. Albana was missing as well, which was
right.
a big concern for Money Day, as well as Benrahma had dropped off to the bench. And when you look at all those players that he was not able to start, I think like he just tried to go defensive. But we've seen this season that it doesn't matter who they play; they tend to be very fearless in attack, especially when they have that first choice combination of having Antonio, of having Fornals, of having Lingard, and having Jeremy
Yeah,
Boy.
Lingard boy. Whew.
Uh,
Man, we
I
looked
think
in this
that
up
is
this season,
like the
can't lie.
perfect foil of playing or for somebody who's a target man, and
Yeah,
like it not to get to start other things too much, but like it really makes you wonder why he hasn't been playing for United. Like he has
right.
a history of playing on the right side. United have no right wingers other than Daniel James, who's had spurts of form this season, but he has not played for United at all. And look how fantastic he's been. He's done well to be the foil for other players to do well as well in the past. So when you look at the Southwest United attack, look a bit dysfunctional, and look at how now he's literally tied the whole of West Ham's attack together to the point that they are a solid top 4 threat. In fact, that they are actually in the top 4 right
They're in
now.
the top 4, yeah.
About 7 game weeks ago. You know, I don't wonder why it is we haven't been seeing them play earlier this season.
Yeah, that's a good issue. One thing I'll mention though, I thought that what's my name, boy? I thought that Mark Noble did an okay job. Actually, he did a good job up to about the 70th minute, and that's when I started noticing, like, wow, they really missing Rice today, you know, because it's the energy that Rice brings to the team, and they're saying that he will be out for like 4 weeks. So I think that could put some strain on the defense. That could also put some strain on the later half of the games to come. You know, when lights get a little bit more tired, and Rice is somebody that just doesn't really get tired. We saw, I think like 5 games ago, the man had a sprint from one box to the next box. So it was like the 88th minute. I mean, what the hell? Anyway, moving on. Okay, we saw that Chelsea managed to fall victim to West Brom, 5-2. Is Chelsea a defense that we still bet on?
Yeah, I do. I do think so too. I think it was a really freak day. I think that the red card was not down to Thiago Silva, it was more down to him trying to cover the mistakes of his teammates, some of which are very much droppable, such as Jorginho. You know, they are very much other capable players in those roles. And I do think in the long term that they would still be a very solid defense, because I think that Tuchel has been a manager that has put defense first, at least so far this season for them.
All right. Another question we have here is what do we do about Emi Martinez? Because we know that Aston Villa are coming up on some harder games, but we know that Emi is probably one of the better keepers in the league, if not the best FPL keeper in the league right now. And even on a day where he manages to lose his clean sheet, he still got 4 points, right? So that has to ask the question: do we keep him, or do we still move on and sell him? Maybe some people might want to sell him for a guy like Mendy, but hey, Mendy just conceded 5 goals, got 0 points, right? Made no saves on the day, actually. So we have Emi here making 6 saves and getting 4 points for himself. And if it wasn't for Ollie Watkins scoring, he would have actually got a bonus point as well, which looks very close to a clean sheet. So the Akaran side that the argument is there to keep him, even though they have harder games coming up. But what would you say towards this whole Emi Martinez debate?
I would say though, Mendy is a bit unlucky because West Brom created 6 chances and scored 5. So. And it was some extremely clinical finishes by the Baggies, right? But I do think that Emi Martinez is still a player that you could depend on. It depends on like what you look at the switch over. And like the truth is like when you look at the course of the season so far, there are very few keepers that you can depend on as much as Emi, right? Like literally the only other one that I would put above him or rather close to him is Ederson. And the thing is, when you look at Ederson, you have a lot more assets from City that you'll be looking to take up, you know?
Right.
I could understand moving away from Grealish because of the injury concerns, away from Watkins because of the lack of service. Right. But I think that taking Emi Martinez allows you to have more space and other assets and other teams. That being said, if you do think that the missing of Grealish combined with the hard fixtures and the not so great run of form over the last couple of weeks means that you think that they're going to be conceding more, then by all means switch across. Look at other teams that should be having better defenses, like Spurs. I think Spurs should be having better defensive game weeks coming up. I think as well as Chelsea should be having better game weeks coming up. I think over the next 4 weeks, Arsenal actually have favorable fixtures as well. So there are teams that are available if you want to switch across from Aston Villa.
All right, John. And last question before we close. I know it's been a longer episode than anticipated. Sorry, guys. But the last question is, we've seen Aguero getting some few starts now, you know, a few starts in a row, actually. And it looks like if this is what Pep plans to do for the remaining of the season, at least the Prem season, which is what we're talking about, obviously, because FPL, all right, so whatever. Anyway, so we know that Aguero will be leaving the club at the end of this season. We also know that the season is basically under wraps for Pep. All right, there's no way that he can come and lose this title now, and that has basically caused them to just say, whatever, I'll play whoever I want. We can't beat you all anyway. And he's been given Aguero minutes. He's actually been playing Aguero alongside Jesus. I know that Aguero hasn't managed to score a goal yet.
So I would say if you really look at that attacking combination, I would go for Gabriel Jesus. He's someone who has historically had more output when he plays off of somebody else, not just for Man City, but even for Brazil. when he played off Bobby Firmino in the Copa America. I think it was last year or year before. And he has been somebody to put more output when he isn't the lone striker. I do think that his future might be there, but for at least right now, that's where he outputs more. He scored this game week here, he scored last game week as well. Both of them came off of playing next to Aguero. Maybe it's better when somebody diverts the attention from him. But if you are looking for a centre forward asset right now from Man City, I would quicker go with Gabi Jesus than Aguero.
Fair enough. And alright, fellas, that brings us to the end of yet another episode. Please stay tuned because hopefully later on in the week we will be bringing out an updated wildcard. Alright, I think that's an important one. So I'll force myself to record it, okay? Even if John can't make it, it's okay. I'll record by myself. We'll spit it out there for y'all. Y'all need to see the updated wildcard because a few things have changed with the injury concerns and whatnot. And just with some form, you know. We see Arsenal, they couldn't even score a goal against a bad Liverpool side. So,
Nat Phillips played. Hold up.
What are we doing, you know? We don't know. Hey, stop it.
Nat Phillips played extremely well, though. As well as the Arsenal was missing a lot of players for their build-up, though. You know? Like we have seen so far this season that when everybody's available, that he doesn't play Orban and Lacazette together. He plays one of them. And that's because he wants more build-up players involved going forward. And he was without Saka, he was without Smith-Rowe, he was without David Luiz, who, while he's a centre-back, he's important to the build-up. He was without Xhaka, who, again, is very important to the build-up. And the players after the coming, started just played complete shit. Like, they played rubbish, though. Like, Ceballos was terrible, Holland was terrible, Pepe was terrible. Like, what the hell, dog? You know? Let them come and play with our Mane and Salah now, right? Let them come and play with our Mane and Salah. Let me see this call level.
Well, apparently it's Jota. But anyway, we will see this on the next time. I've struck a chord here with John. So yeah, he will be back to let you all know about what's going on with Arsenal and what's going on with the wildcard, okay? But until next time, I'm gonna be doing the outro today. Catch you guys next time. See you later. Take it easy. All right.